I'm Harvey, and I'm here from New York. I'm a counter-surveillance designer, and today I'm going to teach you how to beat surveillance. 3 tips on how to beat surveillance. And we have a little surprise. We have 2 surprises for everybody here that we're going to try and connect later. The work I do about counter-surveillance is also artwork, and it involves fashion, design, and photography. Undisclosed is where I work. It's the name of the company. I have a motto for what I do, which is that privacy is not dead, but naivete is. A lot of people think that privacy is dead, and I think that they're dead inside. The first project that I'm going to show you is called CV Dazzle, and this is a project where I'll teach you how to use hair styling and makeup to beat sophisticated face detection software. So we have very expensive technology costing millions of dollars, and then we have hair and makeup, which costs $1. This video shows you how an algorithm is detecting a face. This particular algorithm is called the Viola-Jones algorithm, and it's quite common in a lot of embedded hardware applications because it's very efficient at CPU usage, and it's quite accurate at pulling out a face. So the idea with this project, CV Dazzle, is how can you appear as not a human to a machine, but still look like a person to other people? And you exist as 2 people, one to the human and one to a machine. Increasingly, we live in a world that's heavily populated by cameras. I was at a casino last night, and somebody said there were 3,000 surveillance cameras in just one casino. This creepy image on the right is the image that's inside a face detection algorithm. It's kind of a ghost face. And if you use an algorithm called a genetic algorithm to attack this face detection classifier, you can extract the image that a computer vision profile is looking for. And if we look at it another way, these are all the little classifiers that the algorithm is looking for. So this is what's inside of an algorithm, that we're looking at an algorithm. And here's what this looks like. It's kind of a bold, tribal makeup style where you have hair covering part of your face. These are key facial features, and if you block just a few of these key facial features, your face is not going to show up to a face detection algorithm, which is very cool. The project was inspired by a kind of camouflage from a long time ago. It's called Dazzle camouflage. And when you look at it, it's pretty clear that that ship is not very well hidden. But that's not the point. The way that Dazzle camouflage works is that when you look at this aircraft vessel, you don't know if it's 1 or 2 ships. You don't know if it's going left or going right. And so you don't hide, you confuse. Also notably, the artist Pablo Picasso saw tanks painted with Dazzle camouflage being paraded down a street in Paris, and he said, "Hey, that's my artwork, that's cubism that's being used as camouflage." Okay, so here are my tips for you if you want to do CV Dazzle. You can use what's called an inverse strategy. So any part of your face that's light, you make dark. Any part of your face that's dark, you make light. And you try to hide the really critical features like nose. Everybody has a nose. How can you make it look not like a nose? Hair helps. So in some ways it's easier for a female to do this. Here's one way you can look, and here's another way you can look. So you can be creative and create your own style, and that's what it's all about, is being really individual and creative. Gonna skip over these slides and get to one of the surprises I have for you. The next project, I'm gonna show you how to beat thermal imaging cameras. Does anybody raise their hand if you know what a thermal camera is? Got a few people who have seen this. It only looks at heat. So you can see in the dark, you can see through smoke and through fog. You can't see what people see. You only see, like on the bottom of this image, things that are emitting heat. And what happens if you put a layer of metal or metal-plated fabric between that heat source and the camera, then you can block what that camera is seeing. And in this project, you can see on the top, okay, this is what people see. This is the visible light spectrum. And in the middle, you can see that parts of the model are completely occluded. They've gone black. And that's because the heat is being shielded by a metal-plated fabric. So I'm going to cue up my first surprise for you, which is a very brief fashion show. And somebody is going to model one of the pieces from this image. It's called the AntiDrone Hoodie. And the AntiDrone Hoodie is a metal-plated hoodie, kind of like armor, but it flows like silk. OPME? Yes, lovely. You can see how shiny it is. Great job. Thank you. As you can see, even though it's metal, it's very wearable. And it could be a new type of fashion that people wear in the future, is to hide from thermal imaging cameras. The collection also has a burqa, which gives you much more shielding. And here's something interesting that happened when I published this project. The Air Force General Counsel at the Pentagon took note of a story about it in the New York Times, and they were interested, but luckily I didn't hear anything more from them. So now I have a riddle for you. If you look at this image, this was shot in New York City, and somebody in this picture is wearing the anti-drone burqa. And I want somebody to raise their hand if they can see where that person is. Give you a few seconds. All right. Okay. Guy. Sitting over on this side, down behind the car, maybe, yeah, close. What are you saying, here? Down? Oh no, cold. We got two guesses up here. Yeah, go ahead. The one that's walking? This guy is really visible. It's pretty hot. This person, we can see them too. Yeah. Is that who you meant? Somebody up by the car. So you're getting close now. Actually, there's somebody right here. And they're invisible. I'm going to play the video for you now, and it'll be totally obvious. Hey, there you see him. So you can see her legs are not covered. Dead giveaway if you see a pair of legs floating around. So cool, that's how to hide from a thermal camera. Next project I'm going to show you, and this is in the second surprise that I have for you. It's called the off pocket. Another type of surveillance happens on your phone. Anybody that has a phone on them right now, your phone's location is being tracked by your service provider. And not just right now, but for your whole life, everywhere you go with your phone. You can put it into airplane mode. There's one way around it. But if you're more concerned about security, somebody may have found a way around airplane mode. And how would you even hide a phone that's emitting all these radio frequency signals from trying to communicate with a tower? And the answer is with a Faraday cage, which is this item here. It's kind of like the material that was worn in the AntiDrone Hoodie. It's a metal-plated fabric, and you wrap your phone in it, and it blocks all signals. I wonder if you guys can see any of the text on here. It's a little bit small. This is from Hope Hackers Conference in New York City. A friend was collecting MAC addresses and looking at when you have a computer, it's a bit of a security vulnerability, but it's broadcasting networks that you've joined before. And you can look at these people's profile and you can see they rode a Bolt bus, they went to Stanford, they were shopping at Whole Foods Market. You can begin to piece together all these important bits of somebody's life, where they've been, maybe even whose house they've been to. And, well, airplane mode will work. The off-pocket is another way, and it's a physical shield that'll block all the radio waves coming from your phone. So the surprise with this one is that I'm going to give away one of these in that brightly colored surveillance camera pinata that I have for one lucky individual to whack with a something. Here's a close-up of how that looks, and these are again, those metal-plated fabrics that are quite useful. Okay, so I'm gonna begin to wrap up, and I want to tell you a few things about surveillance and privacy, and that is that the person or the company with the technology to carry out surveillance is the person in power. And often we see surveillance and privacy presented or talked about in the same conversation. So the yin and the yang of privacy and surveillance is that privacy is the power to selectively reveal yourself. You have surveillance as the power to observe. And these forces of power need to be kept in balance so we don't have people who are doing the surveillance with all the power. And privacy can be powerful too. Here's a very interesting statistic about maybe how little privacy we have, and it's that with just 3 pieces of data, 87% of people in the United States can be identified. And those 3 pieces of data are your birthday, your gender, and your zip code. Often information that you give up at a point-of-sale purchase. So it's important to protect your information. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that. That was the presentation